There's a moment in life when you feel deeply that you're just one step away from something grand, but still an invisible force seems to pull you back as if saying, "Not yet." That's exactly where my voice comes in today, walking beside you, breathing with you, reminding you that none of this is a coincidence. Before we go deeper, I want to kindly ask you, subscribe now to Keys of Prosperity, because here you will always receive exciting and inspiring videos made to touch your soul. And write to me in the comments, where are you listening to me from? I want to pray for your city, for your story, for your future. God has always encouraged us to seek knowledge, to study, to learn, to immerse ourselves in everything that can expand our vision. But He also made clear something that few people realize. It is not knowledge that changes destinies. It is wisdom. You may have 1,000 answers in your head, but if your heart is not aligned to act at the right time, in the right way, for the right reason, everything becomes a burden. Proverbs 4:7 says, "Wisdom is the principal thing. Get wisdom, and with all you're getting, get understanding." It is as if heaven were saying, it is not enough to know. You must discern. When I understood this, my life changed from the inside out. I stopped just seeking information and started seeking direction. I stopped chasing theories and started asking God for clear eyes, an aligned mind, and an attentive spirit. True prosperity doesn't happen when you accumulate data. It happens when you recognize the right step within what God has already placed before you. It is at this point that destinies change, doors turn, and paths are illuminated. Wisdom makes no noise. Wisdom transforms silently. Neuroscience calls this efficient decision-making, neural pathway, reward system. But thousands of years before studies existed, God had already revealed that wisdom is what sustains someone's life. He knew that it would be useless to have a trained brain if the heart didn't know how to listen. He knew that it would be useless to have knowledge if the person didn't have the maturity to transform information into light. That's why you will feel, throughout this video, a clarity that you may not have felt in months. Imagine this. You're in a room full of doors. They all look the same. They all fit into your future. They're all possible. But only one is the right door. Knowledge shows you that doors exist, but wisdom shows you which one is yours. It's as if God whispers in your ear, "This is the one that leads to purpose. This is the one that leads to rest. This is the one that leads to a miracle." And when that revelation arrives, the confusion disappears. The anxiety dissolves. Your spirit breathes. And I want you to realize something as you listen to me. If you're here today, it's not because you clicked on some random video. It's because God is calling your mind to a new level of understanding. He wants to lift you from the weight of confused decisions and place you in the territory of divine guidance. He wants to teach you to act wisely so that you no longer need to waste energy fixing decisions made in haste, fear, or despair. God doesn't want you exhausted. He wants you guided. Before we move on to the next part, I want to warmly invite you to check out Reprogram a Mind. It was created precisely to strengthen this wisdom within you, reprogramming your mindset for sound decisions aligned with the Word and balanced prosperity. It consists of 7 days of transformative audio recordings that work on your mind from within. If you'd like to take this step, the link is in the pinned comment. Wisdom isn't born the moment you discover something new. It's born the instant you decide to apply what God has already shown you. And Proverbs 4:5 confirms this when it says, "Get wisdom, get understanding. Do not forget the words of my mouth." God is saying, it's not enough to accumulate information. You need to keep it, value it, and put it into practice. Many people live trapped in cycles because they know a lot, but do little. And it's not out of malice. It's out of fear, doubt, insecurity. Wisdom is applied courage. It's faith in action. That's why so many intelligent people live stuck lives. People who understand everything, but experience nothing. Their brains are full, but their spirits are empty. Because intelligence allows you to see possibilities, but wisdom shows you the safe path. And when wisdom is lacking, a person acts out of time, opens doors that God didn't ask for, insists on paths he has already closed, and then thinks they are being attacked. But it's not an attack. It's maladjustment. It's a decision made without direction. Neuroscience says the brain loves shortcuts, loves repeating patterns, loves staying in the familiar because it saves energy. But the spirit yearns for progress. And when someone tries to move forward using only human logic, without divine guidance, exhaustion arises. The feeling of, I try, and I don't get anywhere, is born. That's because the essential ingredient is missing. Applied wisdom, not hoarded wisdom. And God knows this. That's why he says, use all that you have to acquire understanding. In other words, he's saying, put effort here, put energy here, put intention here. Because he knows that when your mind opens to wisdom, your whole life changes course. Decisions that once consumed, you begin to flow. Situations that once held you back begin to dissolve. Wisdom has the power to cut invisible ties that keep people trapped in cycles of loss, repeated mistakes, and choices that drain the soul. And if you pay attention, you'll realize every time you made decisions in haste, guided by fear, anxiety, or comparison, you ended up paying a very high emotional price. But decisions guided by wisdom, those don't bring weight. They bring peace. They bring direction. They bring that silent feeling of, I'm in the right place. And when you feel that, your whole life begins to align. Things that seemed distant become closer. Things that seemed difficult become light. But there's a point here that can change your destiny. Wisdom isn't just what you learn. It's what you choose to listen to. Because you can have access to God's word. You can hear the right advice. You can hear the truth every day. But if your mind is surrounded by voices that contradict what God has already said, you will feel a constant internal conflict. And this conflict steals direction. It steals focus. It steals faith. It creates storms within the soul. Wisdom always begins with a filter. What do you allow into your mind? The world is full of voices. Some whisper doubt, others inflame fear. Others pull you down paths that seem right, but slowly lead you astray from your purpose. And that's why Proverbs 4 insists so much that you do not forget the words of my mouth. God knows that the human mind is vulnerable, permeable, and easily influenced. He knows that a wrong phrase, repeated long enough, can become an unconscious truth, and the unconscious directs destinies. Many people wonder, why do I do everything right, but nothing changes? And the answer often lies in what they repeat without realizing it. Neuroscience shows that each word creates a pathway within the brain, a trace, a mark. The Bible already said this millennia ago. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and it is precisely here that wisdom comes in. Because wisdom is not just what you say, but what you choose not to say. It is silence that protects. It is the right word that opens doors. It is discernment that prevents you from planting seeds that will turn against you in the future. If you can recall a difficult moment in your life, pay attention. There were probably two voices inside you. One said, "It will work out," and the other said, "It won't work." Two voices, two destinies, but only one direction. And God always whispers the right direction. He never shouts. Therefore, to hear wisdom, you need to quiet the noise of the wrong voices. That's why wise people speak little and listen much. They listen to God. They listen to peace. They listen to the truth that doesn't change with circumstances. Believe me, There are brilliant people who have failed because they surrounded themselves with the wrong voices. Talented people who have gone astray because they listened to advice that seemed well-intentioned but lacked spiritual foundation. People with extraordinary potential who never lived out what God had prepared because they preferred to follow opinions instead of divine guidance. And all this happens silently, imperceptibly, until the person realizes they are off path and doesn't know how they got back on track. This is where Proverbs 4 becomes more profound than many imagine. God isn't just asking you to seek wisdom. He's asking you to guard that wisdom, to protect it, to cherish it, like guarding a treasure. Because if you don't protect the wisdom you've received, someone will come and put something else in its place. And when that happens, decisions begin to change. Perceptions begin to distort. And a person may start calling what is nothing more than fear a sign, and calling what is merely escape peace. Perhaps you're feeling, as you listen to me, that this chapter is touching exactly where you needed it to. Because God is preparing you for important decisions. He is aligning you internally so that you don't confuse your paths. He is calling you to a level of maturity that protects your purpose. Wisdom doesn't prevent storms, but it prevents you from entering storms that weren't meant for you. Wisdom manifests itself less in grand decisions, and much more in the small patterns you repeat daily. It's in the way you react, the silence you choose, the words you decide to release, the patience you cultivate when everything inside you wants to accelerate. In Proverbs, God reveals something that seems simple, but is profoundly transformative. Those who act at the right time prosper. Those who act at the wrong time wear themselves out. And this explains why so many people work double, sometimes triple, and still feel like they are chasing the wind. The truth is that many believe prosperity comes only from effort. But God never promised prosperity, only to those who strive. He promised prosperity to those who act with wisdom. Effort without wisdom becomes weariness. Dedication without direction becomes overload. Commitment without discernment becomes frustration. That's why Proverbs insists, acquire understanding. Because God knows you may have the strength to push doors, but only wisdom opens doors you don't need to push. Neuroscience confirms this when it reveals that the brain works with energy conservation. It creates patterns, automatic pathways, unconscious habits. And if these habits are guided by fear, doubt, impulsiveness, or insecurity, your financial, emotional, and spiritual life will be guided by the same patterns. It's like trying to move forward with an anchor tied to your feet. God, however, wants to teach you to cut that anchor and walk lightly. He wants you to decide from peace, not pressure. From clarity, not anxiety. Look at your own history. How many times have you insisted on something simply because it seemed logical? How many times have you made decisions because everyone around you said it was the right path? But deep down, something warned you? How many times have you moved forward because it was everyone else's time to move forward, but it wasn't yours? Wisdom prevents falls that effort cannot prevent. Wisdom protects what human strength could never achieve. When God gives you wisdom, He is not just blessing you, He is shielding you. And that's why Proverbs reminds us, do not forsake my words. Because the world changes, people change, circumstances change. But God's direction remains firm. He sees what you don't see. He knows what you don't know. He anticipates paths you can't even imagine yet. And when you follow divine wisdom, you avoid snares, you avoid losses, you avoid delays. You become someone who is guided, not someone lost trying to find light in the midst of their own confusion. Now take a deep breath, because there is something even deeper. Wisdom is not just what you do, it's who you become. A wise person stops reacting to circumstances and begins responding to the Spirit. They stop living chasing validation and start acting from purpose. They stop moving out of fear and begin moving out of conviction. And it is this level of wisdom that opens doors that money can't buy, effort can't conquer, and human influence can't reach. Close your eyes for a moment and allow your breath to find a tranquil rhythm, as if the Spirit itself were resting upon you now. I want you to imagine God's light enveloping your mind, dissolving the weight, the fear, the confusion. In this practice, each word will be a prophetic seed planted within your spirit. And I want you to repeat it with me, aloud, because the spiritual atmosphere responds to the sound of your voice. From this moment on, you are not just listening, you are reprogramming your mind for divine prosperity. Repeat after me with faith. I renounce all belief in scarcity. I receive the wise mind that God has given me. I make decisions with clarity, peace, and divine guidance. I renounce all belief in scarcity. I receive the wise mind that God has given me. I make decisions with clarity, peace, and divine guidance. None of these words are just pretty phrases. Each one is breaking patterns, shattering old chains, untying inner knots. Neuroscience calls this neural networks. The Bible calls it a renewal of understanding. Now declare with me. Money doesn't control me. Money serves me. I prosper with balance, wisdom, and purpose. God gives me the right ideas at the right time. I am faithful in little things, and therefore I am being prepared for much. Money doesn't control me. Money serves me. I prosper with balance, wisdom, and purpose. God gives me the right ideas at the right time. I am faithful in little things, and therefore I am being prepared for much. Each repetition opens a new door within you. I don't chase abundance. I attract what God has already released. I now break free from all financial fear. I become compatible with the prosperity that God has already written for me. I don't chase abundance. I attract what God has already released. I now break free from all financial fear. I become compatible with the prosperity that God has already written for me. That's how heaven moves, when your mouth agrees with what God has already said about you. Now go deeper and repeat. I deserve to live well because I was created with purpose. I wisely manage everything God puts in my hands. Wisdom guides my financial decisions. I take actions that honor God and open paths for me. I deserve to live well because I was created with purpose. I wisely manage everything God puts in my hands. Wisdom guides my financial decisions. I take actions that honor God and open paths for me. Your spirit is changing. Your mind is being renewed. Your future is being aligned. Now visualize yourself standing before a vast field, illuminated by golden light, and say with me, doors that were closed are beginning to open. I walk in divine favor, protection, and guidance. My work prospers. My ideas prosper. My life prospers. Doors that were closed are beginning to open. I walk in divine favor, protection, and guidance. My work prospers. My ideas prosper. My life prospers. Feel as if God Himself is taking your hand and guiding you to a territory of promise. Light, safe, illuminated. Nothing about you is the same as it was a few minutes ago. And now, gently, but with spiritual firmness, declare, from today onward, I act with financial wisdom. I become everything that God designed for me. Take a deep breath and feel the atmosphere change around you. The energy shifts. The weight falls away. The mind clears. This is not just an exercise. It's a realignment. And if you want to experience this for 7 consecutive days, deeply immersing yourself in inner transformation, I invite you to discover Reprogram a Mind with daily guided audios to renew your mindset and connect you to the flow of divine prosperity. The link is in the pinned comment. Wisdom not only illuminates decisions, it protects destinies. And when God speaks of wisdom, He is not offering a pretty idea, but spiritual protection. Proverbs 4 is a loving warning from heaven saying, Without wisdom, even victory can become a burden. How many times have you experienced something that seemed like a blessing, but ended up bringing confusion because it came too soon? How many doors have you dreamed of opening, but God held back out of love, because He knew they required a maturity you were still building? Wisdom is the filter that prevents blessings from becoming burdens. The Bible shows us that wisdom is more valuable than gold and silver, because it sustains what money cannot maintain. Money buys access, but it doesn't buy balance. It buys opportunities, but it doesn't buy direction. Money amplifies who you are, and if you are not strong on the inside, that amplification becomes destruction. That's why Proverbs insists, guard wisdom as you guard your life. God knows what an unprepared mind does when it receives what it doesn't understand, what it doesn't honor, what it doesn't protect. And here's a delicate point. Many people pray for prosperity, but don't ask for wisdom to manage it. They want open doors, but don't ask for discernment to know what lies behind them. They want a raise, but don't ask for the emotional maturity to handle new levels of responsibility. A lack of wisdom makes any progress unstable. That's why people revert to old patterns, repeat cycles, and miss opportunities. It's not bad luck. It's a lack of inner preparation. It's trying to carry what only wisdom can sustain. Neuroscience calls this adaptive capacity. A person can only maintain what their mind can sustain. If they receive more than their internal structure can handle, they unconsciously sabotage it. They lose, return, push away, destroy, or cool down what they received. Therefore, before expanding your external life, God expands your internal life. He strengthens you before promoting you. He matures you before elevating you. He aligns you before blessing you. This is not delay. It is protection. It is love. There are doors that God hasn't yet opened because He knows you're worth more than anything that would cause you to lose yourself. There are people He's removed from your path because He knows their proximity would stifle your clarity. There are opportunities He's withheld because He knew you needed more wisdom before taking the next step. You're not late. You're being prepared. Wisdom puts everything in its time. And when it arrives perfectly. It arrives lightly. It arrives with peace. And when you understand this, anxiety loses its power. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop thinking you're falling behind. You stop blaming yourself for the pace of life, because those guided by wisdom don't live rushing. They live being led. Wisdom takes you out of the realm of haste and places you in the realm of precision. You act at the right time. You speak at the right time. You remain silent at the right time. And that changes absolutely everything. There is a silent territory where even the wisest can stumble, not for lack of faith, but for failing to realize that within them a secret competitor for God's throne has been born. This competitor has no face, no form, no altar, but it dominates decisions, controls emotions, and distorts priorities. The Bible calls it the love of money. And that is why, in 1 Timothy 6:10, it is written, "The love of money is the root of all evil." It is not the money itself. It is the wrong affection. It is when the heart kneels before material things instead of surrendering to its creator. And this idol always begins the same way, subtly. It is born when you start measuring your worth by what you have, when your peace depends on your balance, when your identity fluctuates according to the financial month. It arises when you accept situations that wound your soul just to maintain some form of stability. It appears when you sacrifice family, rest, purpose, and even your communion with God in exchange for more. Not more wisdom, not more meaning, just more. The rich young man in Matthew 19 wasn't evil. He was just attached to what he possessed. This is where many people get stuck. You can have wisdom, you can have knowledge, you can have direction. But if money occupies the wrong place within you, it becomes the master, and you become its servant. It doesn't matter if you have little or much. Idolatry doesn't measure quantity, it measures dependence. And that's why there are poor people who are already slaves, and prosperous people who are completely free. The difference isn't in the pocket, it's on the throne of the heart. And perhaps you've never realized it, but there are silent signs that this idol is trying to be born. When you lose your peace because of bills, when you feel inferior next to someone successful, when your mood depends on results, when your joy depends on the number you see, when you stop obeying God because you're afraid of losing something. These are symptoms, not of lack of faith, but of misaligned affection. God doesn't want to condemn you. He wants to set you free. True prosperity only happens when money ceases to be an idol and becomes a tool again. When it no longer decides for you, but you decide where it serves. When it doesn't dictate your emotions, but you put it at the service of the kingdom, your life, your family, your purpose. God never asked you to abandon everything. He only asked you to be first. And when He is first, nothing else throws you off balance. Nothing else enslaves you. Nothing else controls you. And if this word is stirring you right now, if it's touching places you've never named before, I want you to declare it in the comments, in faith, in commitment, in true surrender. Amen. This word seals something spiritual. It declares to heaven and earth that God is the Lord of your heart, and that no money, fear, or insecurity will govern your decisions. Do this with courage. This simple act changes atmospheres, clears paths, and repositions your soul. The final revelation I want to leave you with today is simple, profound, and non-negotiable. Prosperity doesn't begin with what you do. It begins with what you believe. Science calls it neuroplasticity. The Bible calls it a renewal of understanding. But both speak the same truth. You don't live the life you desire. You live the life your mind accepts as possible. And when your mind is reprogrammed for wisdom, faith, and purpose, your entire reality bends to the new pattern that has been born within you. A renewed mind creates better choices. Better choices create new behaviors. New behaviors create paths that didn't exist before. And these paths lead exactly to what God had already prepared for you from the beginning. That's why Proverbs insists so much on wisdom. Not to discipline you, but to set you free. When your mind aligns with God, even that which seemed stuck begins to move. Even that which seemed lost begins to rebuild. Even that which seemed impossible comes to life. True prosperity is light. It's constant. It's silent. It doesn't shout. It doesn't make a fuss. It doesn't demand excessive effort. It flows because it's anchored in balance, in peace, in the divine guidance you received throughout this video. Prosperity isn't about chasing after things. It's about becoming compatible. When wisdom enters, anxiety leaves. When understanding grows, fear shrinks. When the heart aligns, the future opens. And that's why you're feeling this rest now. This is the effect of the living word on your spirit. If this message touched you, please accept my infinite gratitude. Thank you for walking with me this far. None of this was by chance. Every minute, every phrase, every revelation was prepared for you, for this exact moment in your journey. God honors those who seek wisdom before seeking results. And I pray that this seed you received today will grow, flourish, and transform areas of your life that you never imagined needed light. If you wish to continue this transformation daily, with greater depth and consistency, I lovingly invite you to discover Reprogram a Mind. It consists of 7 days of guided audio recordings, designed to align your mind with divine abundance and break old patterns of scarcity. The link is in the pinned comment. If this resonated with you, don't ignore it. It's guidance. It's an answer. It's God's care for you. Thank you for being part of this family that grows, learns, and prospers together. Thank you for your presence, for your faith, for opening your heart to this message. You are important. You are seen. You are part of this journey. If this message spoke to you, write Amen in the comments as a public act of faith and spiritual alignment. See you in the next video. Infinite gratitude.